We're back with WSJ Lunch Break. I'm Wendy Bounds. All right, resort-style pools, stainless steel appliances, Zen gardens, all this for 18-year-olds? Well, welcome to the world of private college dorm living. Only on Mansion would we write and talk about this. Hi, Beth DeCarbo.
Hi, Wendy.
You're one of the editors on Mansion. You're responsible for this, at least for putting it into print.
That's right. Don Watopka did some pretty extensive reporting on the number of private companies that are building dorms on campuses. They're meeting the demands of rising enrollment, but they're also finding that students have a taste for high living. They want those amenities.
These are not the dorms that you and I
There are no
lived
cinder
in.
block walls.
There are no cinder block walls. So, I mean, I mentioned a few things like pools, but the list goes on and on. What are some of the other, like,
oh, goodness,
wow factors?
Putting greens and dog washes. They have pools with tanning ledges. They have tanning beds. Some have bistros and taverns, internet cafes with extensive clubhouses, sand volleyball courts. The list goes on.
Now, I'm wondering about the do-re-mi factor, and by that, the emphasis on the do. I mean, the college and universities are expensive enough now, but I gotta imagine that this sort of private dorm living is even more expensive than what you'd pay the school.
It is expensive, but they want those amenities. For example, we spoke to one student who goes to University of Central Florida. She lives in a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment with 2 other women, and her share is $690 a month. It includes parking, but that when you think about it, each of the women have their own bedroom, their own bathroom, and as the student tells us, I can take a 5-hour bubble bath and no one will complain.
They should be studying that. This is why
well,
America's falling behind because of it. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe not, just a little bit. All right, let's talk about some of the other universities that are trying this. I mean, is this across the country, or are we seeing pockets geographically where this is more prevalent?
It is across the country, and it's not necessarily the big schools. Yes, we're seeing it Texas A&M at College Station, and we're seeing it University of Michigan State University in East Lansing, but Sam Houston State is doing it in Huntsville, Texas as well. So it's really across all of them. I think the most interesting trend is the University of Kentucky, which has turned over all of its housing to private developers and then Kentucky gets a small cut of revenue at the end of the year.
Is it just, and speaking of that sort of financial structure, is it just too taxing, too onerous for these universities to build these dorms themselves and maintain them? I mean, wouldn't they want all that revenue themselves?
I think part of it is that they can't keep up with the demand. The enrollments are still sky high, and they can't build enough beds to accommodate them. These private developers can go off campus where the land might be a little cheaper and build these structures, and they have all the overhead headaches and all the costs that they have to deal with, and the school really loses that hassle factor.
Do we have a potential problem, though, of excess inventory, that maybe they're going to overbuild on these things, and suddenly, you know, the price of school is basically going to just smash into that, and people just are going to say, can't do it, and the parents are going to say, you got to go back to the cinder block dorm? There
have been some people who have raised the idea of a bubble in this area. At Central Florida, again, there was a luxury dorm that opened just 2 years ago, and students flocked to it. Last year, a luxury dorm opened across the street, and many of those students have moved across the street.
Right.
So you're seeing a little bit of migration there, and also as student debt piles up and online learning is becoming more prevalent, people may not step foot on a college campus like they did before.
Very good point. All right, Beth DeCarbo, Deputy Editor of the Mansion segment. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.